There's a lot of companies out there that just aren't very good and they do some very shady things, none more so than in the gaming industry. And here we have one of the prime examples of this exact concept, Snail Games, which is the parent company of Studio Wildcard, the developers who made Ark Survival Evolved. And of course they also released Atlas, which at the time was a massive controversy. But this one just takes the cake. This is so ridiculous, it would never have been something that could have came to my mind if it wasn't for the fact that this is Studio Wildcard and they just do mad stuff like this all the time. So Ark 2 is delayed, so they're turning off Survival Evolved's official servers and charging $50 for a remaster, and they're calling it the Ultimate Value Bundle. Now, if you don't know like how this is working, essentially, I'll point out some stats for you. If you look at Steam right now, you'll see Ark Survival Evolved has currently 55, almost 56,000 players online, with 70,700 being the 24-hour peak, which puts Ark in the top 20, number 17 specifically, of the currently most played games, and the game released in 2017. It's not like this company's hurting for money based on this, because they've sold a lot of things and continue to sell a lot of things. This is a game that's cost around $30 and goes on sale, I mean it's $20 now, but goes on sale for about $10. So they've been making money. And they've also, of course, sold a whole bunch of DLC, which we'll get into in a minute. But what they're essentially saying to the hundreds of thousands of people that currently still play Ark is, I know we said we were going to release Ark 2 pretty soon, but we're not. And you can be disappointed, but that's okay. As a silver lining, what we're doing is shutting down the game that you currently play, that you've paid money for, and if you want to keep playing it, you have to buy a new version for $50, which is just a remaster, which I don't know how this isn't illegal. I swear somebody needs to look into this as to whether or not this is actually allowed. Even if not illegal, this is absolutely ridiculous for a company to do. Oh, all our loyal fans that have been playing this game for the last like 6 years, you know what? Fuck you. You're not getting a new game right now. You'll get it at the end of 2024. And we're taking away the game you currently play unless you give us more money, because we're giving you that ultimate value straight in your ass. Bend over. $50. So it's even more money than they paid for the original game that they currently own and still play. So I'll read you the article and then we'll go over some other stuff talking about like the whole Atlas fiasco with this company. I despair at these motherfuckers. So Ark 2 has been delayed until the end of 2024. The dinosaur survival sequel, currently best known for having Vin Diesel in it for some reason, was originally aiming for a 2023 release, but developers Studio Wildcard say they need more time and more of that fucking ched. To compensate, they're going to instead release Ark Survival Ascended in August, a remaster of the original Ark Survival Evolved that moves it over to Unreal Engine 5. Cool. Yeah, that'd be amazing for a free upgrade for a game we already own. I own this, by the way. I played Ark when it first came out. It was a cool game, albeit incredibly buggy. That's good news. The bad news is you can only buy it in a $50 bundle with the sequel, which won't be released for at least a year, and that the original Survival Evolved servers will be switching off when Ascended launches. So there we have it. You can continue playing the game, but only if you're going to buy the next one, motherfucker. Give me your money. Put those hands up. Drop those drawers. After careful consideration, we've decided to delay the sequel launch to the end of 2024, when it will still launch exclusively on Xbox, Game Pass, and Windows distribution platforms, says the announcement. We've put much thought into delaying Ark 2 for the betterment of the final product and the team's well-being. Good idea, because Ark originally released in early access, and it was a fucking mess. If anyone played it back then, it ran so badly. It was incredibly buggy to the point of frustration, even though a very cool concept for a game, and no doubt that's why it's as popular as it still is today, 6 years later, with many other companies coming out and releasing survival games that have done nowhere near as good as Ark has done, because it just does have a lot of features. It's a cool game, with, of course, a very dedicated fan base, which is why all the more for me it nettles at my opinion at this company quite a lot when they have such a dedicated hardcore fan base and they're like, yeah, we're going to monetize you more. Fuck you. We've already done it a lot, but we're going to do it again. Ark 2 is also apparently shaping up to be substantially different from Survival Evolved, with Souls-like combat. Cool. You're selling me, even though fuck this company. Primitive-only weaponry. Yeah, I hate the fact that there's like sniper rifles and stuff in Ark. I hate it. That's why I don't play. And strict third-person mechanics and an overall very serious tone. Cool. That's a surprise set of ideas for a sequel to the original Ark, which was janky, both third and first person, and had terrible grind redeemed only by the daft joy of eventually being able to build a mobile artillery platform on the back of an amphibious dinosaur. Yes. The substantial departure of Ark 2 is why Studio Wildcard felt it necessary to provide players with a fully next-gen version of the original experience to ensure that fans can continue to enjoy the Ark they know for years to come, so long as they pony up that motherfucking dough. Ark Survival Ascended will launch by the end of August 2023. The full announcement has details of what it contains, including the original game's main island, Battle Royale mode, Survival of the Fittest, and support for cross-platform multiplayer and modding. It also explains that PC players will only be able to get Ark Survival Ascended via an ultimate value bundle known as the Ark Respawn Bundle. The bundle contains Ark Survival Evolved and Ark 2 and will cost $50. Ark 2 won't be out for at least a year, but players will get a month of closed beta access sometime in 2024. Ooh. Official service for Ark Survival Evolved will be switched off when Survival Ascended launched, although single players and official servers will remain available. I'd love to see the stats on how many people play only on official and how many play on unofficial. I know unofficial servers are very popular in Rust. I've not played Ark in so long I wouldn't be able to tell you. But shutting down any servers that people actively use for a product they've paid money for to force them into essentially either playing a way that they would have been playing if they wanted to already, or have to buy this new bundle to play official servers, which some people prefer because then there's not admin abuse. If I was turning off the service my customers already paid for and charging them $50 for an engine upgrade and an IOU, I'm not sure I would have called it the ultimate value bundle, particularly if I'd indicated as recently as January that the upgrade/remaster would be free. Did they really say that? Oh no, don't do them dirty like this, man. Don't do this. Oh no, so they've just semanticked this argument, right? They said, to clarify, the UE5 tease a couple weeks back is referring to the in-the-works complete free upgrade/remaster of Ark Survival Evolved in Unreal Engine 5, not a cinematic. They're saying it's free. It's free with the purchase of a game that doesn't come out for another, 16 months. That's not really free, man. And then, of course, they say in the replies as well, save data will carry over, no wipes will be required. So that's saying that if you play on official servers already, then your data is going to carry over to the new official servers. But they don't want to pay the money to just keep the old servers up, because fuck off fans. Now, obviously, if you followed Ark for a long time, you'll be aware of some of these things that happened that just go to point out that this company is just shy in general. They're just really anti-consumer, despite the fact the consumers have been the ones who've helped them release this game, with it being early access originally, which early access we all know has been abused by bigger developers that already have funding, and they just want to use it as an excuse to get money from people for a product that isn't ready yet, and then basically use that money to continue developing despite the fact they have investment and money in the first place. But let's be real, AAA companies already release games in early access, they just don't use the early access tag anymore. We've seen this countless times, with the most recent example being a big fucking AAA company published by Sony, releasing a game that's one of the best games ever made, allegedly, according to reviews, The Last of Us, on PC, and it being fucking garbage. Just an awful port that somebody should be answering for, with just how ridiculous it is to release a product that's that fucked up and charging people a full box price for it years after the release of the original product. It can't have been that hard, and somebody must have known it was fucked before it got released. So this is not exactly new as a concept. It's been getting worse and worse as time goes on, and Ark Survival Evolved with Studio Wildcard is one of those games that just sort of pioneered essentially selling things for games that they'd already sold that still weren't finished. Which, there's a couple of ways to look at this. If you're selling skins or a soundtrack or something like that in a game that is in early access, I can forgive that if you're a small studio, because it just seems reasonable, right? But if you're selling content that you've spent time making in a game that is still early access and doesn't work, that you've already sold as the game, I don't think you should be doing that. I think you should be finishing the game you sold people on that still is not working correctly, and then releasing things that cost money that add on to that original game experience. But what happened with Ark Survival Evolved is, of course, they released the game, it was getting patched, it was getting fixed, but it was still kind of fucked. It was playable, but they still had problems. And then they announced paid DLC. And then, of course, they released a season pass. And then what happened was they released another game called Atlas, although they used a different company to release Atlas, because Snail Games, being the holding company that owns all these studios, essentially, a big Chinese company, they pretended as if this was a totally different game by a totally different studio. And then when people played the game, they got an Xbox controller, and then found a hidden menu in Atlas that showed that it was literally Ark's menu in the game, and it was just a reskin, which if you looked at the game, you could have come to this conclusion anyway. But of course, you look at this and see what potentially could have happened for a company that has a history of predatory monetization in terms of like how they release things for unfinished products and misrepresent what things are over and over again, is that they sold a season pass saying, oh, you buy this as a one-time price and you'll get all of our expansions for Ark, and then basically reskinning what should have been just an expansion for Ark like the other ones were, and say, no, this is a full brand new game actually, and it's nothing to do with Ark, so you've got to pay us full price for this one, because it's of course not included in the bundle that you already paid for, promising you the future expansions, because this is not an expansion, even though essentially it was only a little bit more than what the expansions were for the other games. So this is just a wild one for me that they're doing this. I'm not really surprised, but it is just absolutely ridiculous. And as this comment points out, not only are they doing this, haha, holy shit, on top of this, they're making you re-buy the expansions that you've already bought on the original Ark when they port them for the remaster. You could have bought the most recent Ark expansion at release not even 2 years ago, and now support is being dropped, and they're asking you to buy it again, which will be 3 years after it released. Holy shit. Now, of course, this is all only being dropped, as far as I'm aware, on the official servers, and you can still play the unofficial. But I will just reiterate, if you wanted to play the unofficial servers, you would have been anyway, which essentially means they are forcing all the people that play official servers to buy this, or just not play the game that they fucking paid money for in the first place, that they currently can do. All in the name of essentially forcing people to buy the new game just to funnel money in that is a guarantee. Because what companies love doing now in gaming specifically is making you buy a product before it's released so that they have some guaranteed money if the game's shit. Which a lot of the times, unfortunately, is the case when they release, and again, they're just buggy, they're just a mess, they don't have the content that was promised, and then of course they're going to fix it, but how long is that going to be? And you could have probably got it in a sale by then. It just guarantees the company's bottom line for a product that's not even in the market yet, or representative of what the market thought the product was in the first place. So yeah, that's it for this one. This company's just a fucking joke. Thanks for watching, see you next time, peace out.